You will never call me by that name again, and you will forget her!" a woman's voice screamed. She held up a beautiful pink dress, ripped it in half with her hands, and threw it into the fireplace. A little girl screamed in horror, "No, that was Mommy's!" The cruel stepmother watched the dress begin to catch fire, a satisfied smile on her face. What she didn't know was that the new security guard, standing like a statue near the front door, wasn't a stranger at all, but the girl's billionaire father, and he was just about to break his disguise. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. "Daddy, do you think Mommy can see me dance from heaven?" Lily Anderson asked, her small fingers adjusting the pink butterfly-decorated dress her mother had sewn before she died. Michael Anderson looked up from his laptop, the glow illuminating his tired face in the dimly lit kitchen. It was 11:30 at night, and he had been working for hours while staring at the photo of his late wife Emma on his desk. "I'm sure she can, sweetheart," he said, closing his computer. "What are you doing up so late? Your talent show is tomorrow." "I couldn't sleep," Lily said, twirling once to make the dress flutter. "I wanted to practice one more time." Michael smiled, though his blue eyes carried the weight of grief that had lingered for 3 years. Emma had died of cancer when Lily was 7. Now, at 10 years old, Lily still kept her mother's memory alive, especially through the pink dress with hand-embroidered butterflies that Emma had made during her final months. "You need your rest," Michael said, standing up and walking over to his daughter. "Your dance is already perfect." The next day, Michael sat in the auditorium of Brookfield Elementary School, watching as Lily performed her dance on stage. The pink dress sparkled under the lights, the butterfly details catching every gleam. Several parents whispered about how talented she was, but Michael barely heard them. All he could think about was how much Emma would have loved to see this moment. After the show, as families gathered in the school gymnasium for refreshments, Robert Taylor approached Michael. Robert, Michael's childhood friend and owner of Brookfield Security Services, clapped him on the back. "She was amazing," Robert said, nodding toward Lily, who was accepting compliments from her teachers. "Emma would be proud." "I know," Michael replied, his voice soft. "Listen, Mike," Robert continued, lowering his voice. "It's been 3 years. Have you thought about dating again? Lily needs a mother figure, and you could use some happiness in your life." Michael shook his head. "I'm not ready, Rob. You're 42 years old, running a successful security software company and raising a daughter alone. You're allowed to find love again." 2 weeks later, Michael found himself adjusting his tie in front of his bedroom mirror. He had reluctantly agreed to attend a charity gala for cancer research. In Emma's memory, he rarely attended social events, preferring to work late in his home office while his in-laws or babysitters watched Lily. "You look handsome, Daddy," Lily said from his doorway. Michael smiled. "Thank you, sweetie. Mrs. Peterson will be here any minute to stay with you." "Will you meet a nice lady tonight?" Lily asked innocently. The question caught Michael off guard. "Why do you ask?" "Because Grandma said you need to find me a new mommy." Michael knelt down to Lily's level. "Your mom was very special. No one could ever replace her." "I know," Lily nodded, "but maybe someone could help us not be so sad sometimes." The Westfield Hotel ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers and elegantly dressed guests when Michael arrived. He donated a sizable check in Emma's name and was making his way to the exit when a woman's voice stopped him. "Leaving so soon? The dancing hasn't even started." Michael turned to see a blonde woman in a navy blue dress. Her smile was confident, almost magnetic. "I'm not much of a dancer," he admitted. "Catherine Pierce," she said, extending her hand. "And you're Michael Anderson. Your security software protected my marketing firm from a cyber attack last year." "Nice to meet you, Catherine," Michael replied, surprised by her knowledge of his work. "One drink before you escape?" she suggested, her green eyes holding his gaze. One drink turned into dinner the following week at the Riverside, an upscale restaurant in downtown Brookfield. Catherine was intelligent, confident and attentive. Michael found himself talking more than he had in years. "Tell me about your wife," Catherine said as they finished their meals. "Robert mentioned you were widowed." Most women avoided the topic, but Catherine seemed genuinely interested. Michael pulled out his phone and showed her pictures of Emma. "She was beautiful," Catherine said sincerely, "and your daughter looks just like her." "Lily is my world," Michael said. "She's had a tough few years." "I would love to meet her someday," Catherine said, "when you're ready for that step." 3 months later, Michael decided it was time for Catherine to meet Lily. He arranged for them to meet at Sweet Dreams Ice Cream Parlor, Lily's favorite place. "What if she doesn't like me?" Lily asked nervously as they waited. "Just be yourself," Michael assured her. Catherine arrived exactly on time, carrying a small gift bag. "Hello, Lily," she said warmly. "Your dad has told me so much about you." Lily looked up shyly. "Hello." "I heard you like butterflies," Catherine said, handing Lily the gift bag. Inside was a beautiful book about rare butterfly species. Lily's eyes widened with excitement. "Thank you. I don't have this one." As weeks passed, Catherine spent more time at their home. One evening, she helped Lily with a science project about butterfly migration patterns. "You're really good at this," Michael observed, as Catherine helped Lily create a colorful display. "I used to help my younger sister with her homework," Catherine explained. "Plus, butterflies are fascinating." On another night, Catherine surprised them by cooking Emma's famous lasagna recipe that Michael had mentioned once. "I hope I did it justice," she said as she served the meal. Michael took a bite and felt a wave of emotion. "It's perfect," he said quietly. After 6 months of dating, Catherine had become a regular part of their lives. One evening while Lily was at a sleepover, Catherine made a suggestion. "You know, you could expand your company's reach if you traveled more for business," she said. "I could watch Lily when you're away. I work from home most days anyway." "You'd do that?" Michael asked. "Of course. I care about both of you." A month later, during a weekend trip to Cape Cod, Michael proposed on the beach at sunset. Catherine said yes immediately, tears in her eyes. When they returned home to tell Lily, her reaction was mixed, excitement coupled with uncertainty. "Will we move to a new house?" Lily asked. "We could," Catherine suggested. "A fresh start might be nice." "But all my memories of Mom are here," Lily said quietly. "We'll bring those with us," Michael assured her, though he noticed Catherine's slight frown. As wedding preparations began, Catherine took Lily shopping for a flower girl dress. "What about this one?" Catherine held up a blue dress with lace. "I want to wear my butterfly dress," Lily said firmly. "The one my real mom made me." Catherine's smile tightened. "Of course, if that's what you want." The wedding was held in the garden of their Brookfield home on a perfect June day. As Lily walked down the aisle in her pink butterfly dress, scattering rose petals, Michael felt a complex mixture of joy and sadness. During the reception, Mrs. Bennett, Lily's teacher, commented to Catherine, "Lily looks so much like her mother." Emma had the same beautiful curls and smile. Michael noticed Catherine's expression darken momentarily before she replied, "Yes, everyone says so." As the evening ended and guests departed, Michael carried a sleepy Lily upstairs to bed. "Are you happy, Daddy?" she whispered. "I am," he said, kissing her forehead. "Get some sleep now." Downstairs, Catherine was removing decorations, her back to Michael as he returned. He paused in the doorway, watching as she took down a photo of Emma from the living room wall and placed it face down in a drawer. The smile that had graced Catherine's face all day was gone, replaced by a cold, calculating expression that Michael had never seen before. Catherine placed the photo of Emma in the drawer and closed it firmly. She turned around quickly when she heard Michael's footsteps approaching. "Just tidying up a bit," she said, her warm smile returning instantly. This shelf was getting too crowded with photos. 6 months had passed since the wedding day. On a sunny Tuesday morning, Catherine helped Michael pack his suitcase for a business trip to Chicago. "Are you sure you can handle everything?" Michael asked, folding a white shirt. "Of course," Catherine said, handing him his blue tie. "You should extend your stay an extra day. The Jefferson contract is important. You need to focus completely on it." "I don't like leaving Lily for so long," Michael said. "We'll be fine," Catherine assured him. 3 days is nothing. Besides, Lily and I could use some girl time to bond." Michael kissed Catherine goodbye in the driveway as Lily waved from the front door. The moment his car disappeared around the corner, Catherine's face changed. Her smile vanished and her eyes hardened. "Go get ready for school," she told Lily without looking at her. "You're going to be late." "But we have 30 minutes, Lily said, confused by Catherine's cold tone. "Just do what I say," Catherine snapped, "and don't forget your lunch." "Aren't you making it?" Lily asked quietly. Catherine had always prepared lunch when Michael was home. "You're 10 years old, make your own lunch," Catherine said, walking to the kitchen. She poured herself coffee and sat down with her tablet, ignoring Lily completely. That evening, Lily returned from school to find Catherine talking on the phone in the living room. She stopped when she saw Lily. "I'll call you back," she said into the phone. "The child is home." Catherine had prepared a fancy dinner for herself, grilled salmon with roasted vegetables. She put a frozen pizza on the counter. "This is your dinner," she told Lily. "I thought you preferred these anyway." "Dad doesn't let me eat frozen pizza on weeknights," Lily said softly. "Well, your dad isn't here, is he?" Catherine replied, "Heat it up yourself. I'm busy." Later that night, Lily tried calling Michael from her bedroom. "Dad, can I—" she started, but Catherine appeared in the doorway. "Hang up," Catherine ordered. "Your father is in an important meeting." "But I just wanted to say goodnight," Lily protested. Catherine took the phone. "Michael? Yes, everything's wonderful here. Lily was just being silly. She knows you're busy with work. No need to call back tonight. Focus on your meeting." She hung up and gave Lily a cold look. Don't bother him with trivial calls. The next day, Lily had a school concert. She searched her closet for her special pink butterfly dress but couldn't find it. "Catherine, have you seen my pink dress?" Lily called out. "The one for my concert tonight?" Catherine appeared at the door. "Oh, I forgot to wash it. Too late now." "But I told you about the concert last week," Lily said, tears forming in her eyes. "Don't be so dramatic," Catherine replied. "Wear something else." That afternoon, Lily's friend Jake Peterson from next door came over to work on a school project. Catherine greeted him with an overly sweet smile. "Hello, Jake. How wonderful to see you. How's your mother doing?" "She's good, Mrs. Anderson," Jake replied politely. When Jake and Lily were working in the dining room, Catherine kept interrupting with unnecessary questions and comments. Jake soon felt uncomfortable. "I should probably go home," he told Lily after an hour. "But we haven't finished our project," Lily said. "I'll finish my part at home," Jake whispered. "Your stepmom is acting weird." After Jake left, Catherine walked through the living room with a box. Lily noticed she was removing family photos that showed Emma. "What are you doing with those pictures?" Lily asked. "Just organizing," Catherine said. "It's time to make new memories. All these old photos are collecting dust." "But those are my mom," Lily said, her voice breaking. "Your mother is gone, Lily," Catherine said coldly. "The sooner you accept that, the better for everyone." On Thursday morning, Mrs. Rodriguez, the housekeeper, arrived to clean. She immediately noticed Lily's sad face at the breakfast table. "Buenos dias, Lily," Mrs. Rodriguez said warmly. "How are you today, Nina?" "I'm okay," Lily said quietly. Catherine entered the kitchen. "Mrs. Rodriguez, please focus on the upstairs bathrooms today. They're disgustingly dirty." "See, Mrs. Anderson," Mrs. Rodriguez replied, but when Catherine left the room, she quickly placed a chocolate cookie next to Lily's plate. "For you, pequeña," she whispered with a wink. Later, while Catherine was on a phone call, Mrs. Rodriguez found Lily in her room. "Are you okay, Lily?" she asked gently. "You seem sad." "I'm fine," Lily said, but her eyes filled with tears. Miss Rodriguez hugged her. "If you need anything, you tell me, okay? Anything at all." At school that day, Lily's English class was assigned to write a creative story. Mrs. Bennett, her teacher, was concerned when she read Lily's work. "The girl hides in her closet when she hears the witch coming up the stairs," Lily had written. "She knows the witch only pretends to be nice when her father is watching. Nobody believes her when she tries to tell them about the witch's real face." Mrs. Bennett called Michael's cell phone after school. "Mr. Anderson? This is Mrs. Bennett from Brookfield Elementary. I'd like to schedule a parent-teacher conference when you return. I'm concerned about Lily's recent writing assignments." When Catherine learned about the call, she was furious. She poured herself a glass of cranberry juice and walked to Lily's room, where the pink butterfly dress was laid out on the bed. "What's this?" Catherine demanded. "Dad called and said I could wear it tomorrow when he gets back," Lily explained. Catherine's hand slipped, spilling red juice all over the dress. "Oh, how clumsy of me," she said with a small smile. "Accidents happen." She left the stained dress on the bed without attempting to clean it. On Friday afternoon, Michael returned home. Lily ran to him, but her greeting was subdued. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Michael asked, noticing how quiet she was. "Nothing," Lily said, glancing nervously at Catherine. Michael noticed small changes around the house. Family photos rearranged, Emma's books moved from the shelves, Lily's butterfly drawings missing from the refrigerator. That evening, Mrs. Bennett called again. "Mr. Anderson, I'd like to meet with you on Monday after school. I'm concerned about some changes I've noticed in Lily's behavior and her writing assignments." "What kind of changes?" Michael asked. "She's withdrawn in class, and she's writing stories about feeling scared at home and hiding from someone she calls the witch. I think we should discuss this in person." After the call, Michael went to Lily's room. He found her sitting on her bed, looking at her stained pink dress. "What happened to your dress?" he asked. "It was an accident," Lily said quietly. "Lily, is everything okay?" "You can tell me anything," Michael said, sitting beside her. "Everything's fine," Lily insisted, but her eyes darted toward the doorway where Catherine was passing by. "Are you sure?" Michael pressed. "Mrs. Bennett says you seem upset at school." "I'm just tired," Lily said, "and I miss Mom sometimes." Later that night, Michael couldn't sleep. He went downstairs for water and heard Catherine on the phone in the study. The door was slightly open. "The brat's finally learning to keep her mouth shut," Catherine was saying in a low voice. "Soon Michael will send her to boarding school and we'll have everything to ourselves. I've already collected some brochures. Once she's gone, I'll have complete access to his accounts." Michael froze in the hallway, his heart pounding. He quietly returned upstairs, his mind racing. How had he missed this? What else happened when he was away? In his home office, Michael stared at his computer screen displaying the security software his company had developed. An idea began to form in his mind. If Catherine showed her true self only when he was gone, he needed to see what happened in his home during his absence. He picked up his phone and texted his old friend Robert. "Need to meet tomorrow. It's about Lily. Something's wrong at home." The next morning, Michael drove to Joe's Diner on the outskirts of Brookfield. He arrived 15 minutes early and chose a booth in the back corner where no one would overhear their conversation. Robert Taylor walked in at exactly 10 o'clock, his face showing concern. "Your text sounded serious," Robert said, sliding into the booth. "What's going on with Lily?" Michael looked around to make sure no one was listening. "I think Catherine is mistreating Lily when I'm not home." Robert frowned. "That's a big accusation, Mike. What makes you think that?" "Last night I overheard Catherine on the phone saying she wants to send Lily to boarding school to get rid of her. She called her the brat." Michael's voice was tight. "And Lily's teacher called about concerning stories she's written about being afraid at home and hiding from a witch." Robert still looked skeptical. Kids write weird stories all the time, and maybe Catherine was just venting. Being a step-parent isn't easy. Michael pulled out several sheets of paper from his jacket pocket. Mrs. Bennet gave me copies of Lily's essays. Read them. Robert took the papers and began reading. His expression changed from doubt to concern as he turned each page. One essay described a girl hiding in a closet from a woman who was nice when her father was watching but mean when they were alone. Another story told of a special dress being ruined by the witch who pretended it was an accident. "Okay," Robert said finally, putting the papers down. "This is disturbing. But what do you want to do? Confront Catherine?" "I need proof," Michael said. "I need to see what happens when Catherine thinks I'm not there." The two men spent the next hour developing a plan on paper napkins. Michael would announce new security measures for the house due to supposed break-ins in the neighborhood. As the owner of Brookfield Security Services, Robert would install cameras in common areas of the house and assign a new security guard to patrol the property during Michael's upcoming business trip. "The guard's name will be Mike Williams," Michael said. "And who will play this Mike Williams?" Robert asked. "I will," Michael replied firmly. Robert shook his head. "Catherine will recognize you immediately." "Not if we do it right," Michael insisted. "A professional makeup artist, a false beard, glasses, uniform, it can work." That afternoon, they visited a professional makeup artist named Denise who worked for theater productions. She listened to their situation carefully. "I can make this work," she said, "but are you sure this is the only way?" "I need to see how she treats my daughter when I'm not there," Michael explained. "If I'm wrong about all this, no harm done. But if I'm right?" 3 hours later, Michael looked in the mirror and barely recognized himself. His salt and pepper hair was now completely gray and longer. A realistic beard covered his face, and specially designed glasses changed the appearance of his eyes. Subtle changes to his facial structure made his cheekbones and jawline look different. "Try walking differently too," Denise suggested. "People recognize others by how they move as much as how they look." They tested the disguise at Robert's security company office. Robert called in his secretary, Janet. "Janet, this is Mike Williams, a new guard we're hiring for the Anderson assignment," Robert said. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Williams," Janet said, shaking Michael's hand without a hint of recognition. Despite having known him for years, the next step was to announce the new security system at home. That evening during dinner, Michael cleared his throat. "I have some news," he said. "There have been 3 break-ins in Brookfield this month. I'm going to have Robert install a new security system here before my trip to Seattle next week." Catherine put down her fork. "Break-ins? I haven't heard about any break-ins." "They haven't been reported in the local paper yet," Michael said. "Robert told me. One home was less than a mile from here." "What kind of security system?" Catherine asked. "Cameras in the common areas of the house and a guard to patrol the property during my trip." Catherine frowned. "Cameras inside our house? That seems excessive. Can't we just have outdoor cameras?" "I want to be thorough," Michael insisted. "With my business, we can't take chances with security." "Well, I don't like the idea of being recorded in my own home," Catherine said. "The cameras will only be in the living room, kitchen, hallways, and entryways," Michael explained. "Not in bedrooms or bathrooms. It's for all our protection." Lily, who had been quietly eating, looked up. "Will the cameras keep us safe, Dad?" Michael nodded. "Yes, sweetheart. That's exactly what they'll do." Catherine studied Michael's face. "You seem very decided about this." "I am," Michael said firmly. "Robert will be here tomorrow with his team." The next day, technicians installed cameras throughout the main areas of the house. Catherine watched them with thinly veiled annoyance. When one technician placed a camera with a view of the fireplace, Catherine objected. "Is that really necessary? That's where we relax as a family." "Standard procedure, ma'am," the technician replied. We need to cover all main areas." When they were finished, Robert gave them a demonstration of how the system worked. "The footage is stored both locally and in our secure cloud," he explained. "You can access it from your phone or computer with this password." Catherine smiled tightly. "It feels like we're living in a police state, but if it makes Michael feel better, I suppose I'll adjust." That evening, Michael introduced the idea of the security guard who would patrol during his trip. "His name is Mike Williams. He's one of Robert's most trusted employees. He'll stay in the pool house and check the property regularly." "A stranger living in our pool house?" Catherine objected. "For a whole week?" "Robert has conducted thorough background checks," Michael assured her. "He's completely trustworthy." Over the next few days, Michael worked with his assistant Jessica to create an elaborate digital trail for his Seattle trip. They booked a hotel room, scheduled fake meetings, and arranged for Jessica to manage video calls that would appear to come from Seattle. "I'll use the hotel's conference room background for the video calls," Jessica confirmed. "No one will know you're not really there." The day before his scheduled departure, Michael noticed Catherine showing unusual interest in his trip details. "What time does your flight land again?" she asked while helping him pack. 2:15 in the afternoon, Seattle time," Michael replied. "And your first meeting is when?" 4 o'clock with the Westridge team." "What's the name of your hotel again? In case there's an emergency with Lily." Michael looked up from his suitcase. "The Grand Pacific. I left all the details on the paper on the refrigerator." Catherine nodded, just being thorough. Later, Michael found Catherine in his office looking at his laptop. "What are you doing?" he asked. She jumped slightly. "Oh, just checking the weather in Seattle for you. Looks like rain all week." That night, Michael taught Lily a secret hand signal they could use if she ever felt unsafe. "If you're ever worried or scared, touch your ear twice, then your nose," he demonstrated. "That will be our secret code." "Why would I need a secret code?" Lily asked. "It's just another way to stay safe," Michael said. "Like the new cameras." The next morning, Michael said goodbye to Lily and Catherine in the driveway. Several neighbors were outside watching the emotional farewell. "Be good for Catherine," Michael told Lily, hugging her tightly. "I will, Dad," she promised. Catherine gave Michael a perfect goodbye kiss. "Have a productive trip, darling. Don't worry about a thing here." As Michael drove away, he watched in the rearview mirror as Catherine checked her phone, likely confirming his flight details. 3 hours later, Mike Williams arrived at the Anderson home in a Brookfield Security Services vehicle. Robert introduced him to Catherine at the front door. "Mrs. Anderson, this is Mike Williams. He'll be monitoring your property this week while your husband is away." Mike nodded respectfully, keeping his voice deeper than normal. "Pleased to meet you, ma'am." Catherine studied him closely. "You look familiar? Have we met before?" "No, ma'am," Mike answered. "I just moved to Brookfield last month." "Well, I suppose you should get settled in the pool house," Catherine said. "I hope we won't need your services, Mr. Williams." As Catherine walked back inside, Mike noticed her checking her phone again. The screen showed a flight tracker app, following the progress of a plane to Seattle, a plane that Michael Anderson was not on. Mike settled his few belongings in the pool house, which had a perfect view of the main house through large windows. He set up his laptop to monitor the security camera feeds and checked that his earpiece connected properly to the small camera's audio systems. The first morning of surveillance began early. At 6:15, Mike was already positioned in the security monitoring room when he saw lights come on in the kitchen. Catherine entered first, wearing an expensive silk robe and carrying her phone. She made a single cup of coffee in the fancy machine and sat at the kitchen island, scrolling through social media. 20 minutes later, Lily came downstairs, already dressed for school in jeans and a green sweater. "Good morning," Lily said quietly. Catherine didn't look up from her phone. "You need to eat breakfast." Lily opened the refrigerator and stood there, uncertain. "Is there any orange juice left?" Catherine didn't respond, continuing to scroll through her phone. Lily eventually took out milk and cereal, setting them on the counter. As she poured the milk, some spilled on the table. Clean that up, Catherine snapped, finally looking up. You're always making messes. No wonder your father works so much. Who would want to be around such a clumsy child? Lily quickly grabbed a paper towel and wiped up the spill, her hands shaking slightly. I'm sorry, she whispered. Speak up, Catherine demanded. Mumbling is unattractive. I said I'm sorry, Lily repeated louder. Catherine went back to her phone. Hurry up and finish, the bus comes in 20 minutes. After Lily finished eating, she went upstairs to brush her teeth. Catherine immediately took out her own laptop and opened files labeled Anderson Enterprises Financial Reports. Mike watched from the security monitors as Lily came back downstairs wearing a light jacket. Is this jacket okay? Lily asked Catherine. The weather app says it might rain. Catherine glanced up. That jacket is ugly. Your mother had terrible taste in clothes. I don't know why your father keeps buying you these drab things. My mom bought this for me, Lily said quietly, her face falling. Well, that explains it, Catherine said coldly. Your mother dressed you like a charity case. No wonder the other girls at school don't invite you to their parties. Mike felt his jaw tighten as he watched Lily's eyes fill with tears. He needed to maintain his cover, but watching this emotional abuse was harder than he'd expected. When Lily left for the bus, Mike followed at a distance, pretending to check the property's perimeter. At the bus stop, he noticed how Lily's entire demeanor changed. Her shoulders relaxed and she smiled when greeting another student. Back at the house, Catherine was on the phone in the living room. Yes, I have access to most of his accounts now, she was saying. The main investment portfolio still requires his personal authorization, but I'm working on that. She paused, listening to the person on the other end. Of course I've been documenting everything. If the marriage doesn't work out, I'll need leverage. His company's new security protocols alone are worth millions to competitors. Mike documented this conversation carefully, making notes on his secure laptop. At 11 o'clock, Mrs. Rodriguez arrived for her regular cleaning day. She knocked on the front door and Catherine answered with a tight smile. You're 15 minutes late, Catherine said by way of greeting. I'm sorry, Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. Rodriguez replied. The traffic was very bad today. Well, you still need to finish everything. Focus on the upstairs bathrooms today. They're filthy. Mrs. Rodriguez nodded and went to get her cleaning supplies. When Catherine returned to her phone call in the study, Mrs. Rodriguez took a small chocolate from her pocket and placed it on Lily's desk with a little note that read, Smile pequeña. At 2:30, Lily returned from school. Mike was checking the front yard security cameras when she walked up the driveway. Hello, Mr. Williams, Lily said politely. Hello, Lily, he replied, keeping his voice deep and different from his normal tone. How was school today? It was okay, she said with a small shrug. We had a math test. I'm sure you did well, he said, careful not to sound too much like her father. Lily looked back at the house and lowered her voice. Is Catherine inside? She went out about an hour ago, Mike replied. Said something about lunch with friends. Relief washed over Lily's face. Good. I mean, that's nice for her. Everything okay? He asked, seizing the opportunity to talk to her alone. Lily hesitated. I don't like being alone with her. She says mean things when Dad isn't here. What kind of mean things? Mike asked, trying to keep his voice neutral. She says I'm clumsy and that my mom had bad taste and that Dad only keeps me because he has to. Lily's voice cracked slightly. Their conversation was interrupted by a boy riding his bike up the driveway. Hey, Lily! The boy called out. Hi, Jake! Lily replied, brightening a little. Jake Peterson, the 11-year-old neighbor, stopped his bike and looked curiously at Mike. This is Mr. Williams, Lily explained. He's the security guard while my dad is away. Cool uniform, Jake said before turning back to Lily. Want to play video games at my house? I can't, Lily said. Catherine says I have to stay home while Dad is away. Jake frowned. My mom says I should stop making up stories about your stepmom being mean to you. She says adults don't act that way. Did you tell your parents about Catherine? Mike asked carefully. I tried, Jake said, but they said Lily is probably just having a hard time adjusting to having a new mom. Their conversation ended when a black Mercedes pulled into the driveway. Catherine got out, carrying shopping bags. Lily, what are you doing out here instead of doing your homework? She called sharply. And Jake, does your mother know you're here? Yes, Mrs. Anderson, Jake said, suddenly nervous. Well, Lily has homework to do. You should go home now. Jake nodded quickly and got back on his bike. See you at school, Lily, he said before riding away. That evening, while Catherine was upstairs changing clothes, Lily went to the kitchen for a glass of water. Mike was checking the security panel nearby and saw everything. Lily reached for a glass, but it slipped from her hand and shattered on the tile floor. The sound of breaking glass made Lily freeze in terror. Her face went pale as footsteps came quickly down the stairs. What did you break now? Catherine demanded, entering the kitchen. I'm sorry, Lily said, her voice shaking. The glass was wet and it slipped. Catherine's eyes narrowed. Clean it up. I'll get the broom, Lily said, moving toward the closet. No, Catherine said coldly. Use your hands. Maybe then you'll learn to be more careful. But the glass will cut me, Lily protested quietly. Pick it up. Catherine enunciated each word slowly. Mike stood in the doorway, watching in horror as Lily knelt and carefully began picking up the larger pieces of glass with her trembling fingers. He wanted desperately to intervene, but doing so would blow his cover and end the investigation prematurely. Mrs. Anderson, he said instead, keeping his voice professional. I heard glass breaking. Is everything okay? Catherine turned, her expression instantly changing to one of pleasant concern. Oh, Mr. Williams, just a little accident. Lily is cleaning it up. I have gloves in my toolkit if that would help, he offered. That's not necessary, Catherine replied firmly. Lily needs to learn to be more careful. Isn't that right, Lily? Lily nodded, not looking up as she picked up another glass shard. Later that evening, Catherine's book club arrived, 5 women in expensive clothes carrying bottles of wine. Mike observed as Catherine transformed completely, becoming the perfect hostess and stepmother. Lily, come meet my friends, she called sweetly. Lily appeared, looking wary. Catherine put her arm around Lily's shoulders, holding her tightly. This is my stepdaughter, she told the women. She's still adjusting to our blended family. It's been challenging since she has emotional issues from losing her mother, but we're making progress. The women made sympathetic noises while Lily stood stiffly under Catherine's grip. Why don't you show Mrs. Wilson your science project? Catherine suggested in a kind voice that sounded completely foreign to what Mike had been witnessing all day. After the guests left 3 hours later, Catherine's demeanor changed instantly. You embarrassed me, she hissed at Lily. You barely spoke to anyone. I didn't know what to say, Lily replied. You could have at least pretended to be charming, Catherine snapped. Go to your room. I don't want to look at you anymore tonight. In the pool house, Mike reviewed the day's surveillance footage, feeling sick at what he'd witnessed. As he checked the video from the kitchen, the glass incident, he discovered that section was missing from the recordings. Several other key moments throughout the day were also gone. Mike checked the system settings and found evidence of tampering. Somehow, Catherine had figured out how to delete specific portions of the security footage. She was clearly more tech-savvy than she had let on. He immediately called Robert on a secure line. We have a problem, he said quietly. Catherine is deleting footage. I need backup cameras she doesn't know about. I'll bring them tomorrow during a routine check, Robert replied. And Mike, how bad is it? Worse than I thought, Mike said grimly. Much worse. The next morning, Robert arrived at 9:30, driving a Brookfield Security Services van. He carried a toolbox and clipboard, looking every bit the security system inspector. Good morning, Mrs. Anderson, Robert said when Catherine answered the door. Just here for the 24-hour system check. Standard procedure with new installations. Catherine crossed her arms. Is this really necessary? Everything seems to be working fine. It's protocol, ma'am, Robert replied professionally. We need to ensure all sensors and cameras are calibrated correctly. Won't take more than an hour. Fine, Catherine sighed. Do what you need to do. While Robert pretended to check the main security panel, he and Mike installed 3 additional hidden cameras disguised as smoke detector sensors. These would operate on a separate system that Catherine couldn't access. The primary cameras are working normally, Robert announced when he finished. But I noticed some gaps in the recording timeline. Has anyone been adjusting the settings? Catherine's expression remained neutral. Not that I know of, perhaps it's just a system glitch. Perhaps, Robert said. I've reset everything. It should work perfectly now. After Robert left, Catherine watched Mike carefully during breakfast. She asked unusually detailed questions about his background. Where did you work before Brookfield Security, Mr. Williams? She asked casually. Boston. Mike answered briefly. Private security. Interesting, Catherine said. My sister lives in Boston. Which neighborhood were you in? South End, he replied, keeping his answers short to avoid any slip-ups. I grew up in Cambridge myself, Catherine continued. Such a small world. Just after noon, while Mike was checking the perimeter cameras, a taxi pulled into the driveway. A woman with dark blonde hair stepped out, paying the driver before retrieving a small suitcase. Mike approached her. Can I help you, ma'am? I'm Vanessa Pierce, she said. Catherine's sister. You must be the security guard Robert mentioned. Before Mike could respond, Catherine opened the front door, her face showing momentary shock before she composed herself. Vanessa, what a surprise, Catherine said, her voice tight despite her smile. You didn't tell me you were coming. Spontaneous visit, Vanessa replied, hugging her sister. I had some vacation days to use, and I thought, why not see my favorite sister and meet this stepdaughter you've been telling me about? Catherine's smile remained fixed. How thoughtful. Come in, come in. Mike watched this interaction with interest. Catherine's body language showed clear tension despite her welcoming words. Inside, Vanessa placed her suitcase by the stairs and looked around the house. Beautiful place, Kath. Michael has done well for himself, Vanessa commented. We've done well, Catherine corrected. I've made some significant improvements to the decor. It was quite outdated when I moved in. I brought something for Lily, Vanessa said, pulling a wrapped package from her bag. A book about rare butterfly species. You mentioned she likes butterflies. Catherine's eyes narrowed slightly. How thoughtful. She'll be home from school in a few hours. Throughout the afternoon, Mike positioned himself to observe the sisters' interactions. While Catherine believed they were speaking privately in the garden, he could hear their conversation through his earpiece connected to the security system. So, how's married life treating you? Vanessa asked, sipping iced tea on the patio. Perfectly, Catherine replied. Michael is suitable. His business is even more successful than I realized, and he's away often, which gives me plenty of freedom. And the daughter, Lily? Vanessa asked. How are you two getting along? Catherine's voice cooled. She's adjusting, still overly attached to her dead mother's memory, but I'm working on that. Working on that how? Vanessa asked, her tone sharpening. Just helping her understand that the past is the past, Catherine said dismissively. She needs to accept her new reality. Vanessa set down her glass. You're doing it again, Kath. Just like with Richard's kids. This obsession with eliminating competition for attention needs to stop. I don't know what you're talking about, Catherine said icily. Don't play dumb with me, Vanessa replied. I saw what you did to Richard's children in Philadelphia. Those kids didn't accidentally take too much medication. Catherine leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper that the microphone barely caught. Be very careful what you're implying. Nothing was ever proven. Because Richard wanted to avoid a scandal, Vanessa hissed back. He paid you off to go away quietly. If you came here to cause problems, Catherine started. I came to make sure another child doesn't get hurt, Vanessa interrupted. Your pattern is crystal clear, Kath. You target wealthy men with children, then systematically work to remove those children from the picture. Catherine's voice became threatening. You might want to remember what I know about you before you start throwing accusations. Your own little secret could ruin your perfect reputation. Vanessa fell silent at this, and Mike wished he could see her face. When Lily returned from school, she was surprised to find a visitor waiting. Lily, this is my sister Vanessa, Catherine said with forced sweetness. She came all the way from Boston to meet you. Hello, Lily said cautiously, clearly unused to Catherine introducing anyone in a positive way. Hi, Lily, Vanessa said warmly. I brought you something. Catherine tells me you like butterflies. Lily's face lit up when she opened the gift, a beautifully illustrated book of rare butterfly species. Thank you, she exclaimed, looking through the pages. I don't have this one. Maybe you could show me your collection. Vanessa suggested. I'd love to see it. Catherine watched with thinly veiled irritation as Lily led Vanessa upstairs to her room. Mike repositioned himself to monitor this interaction through the hallway camera. In Lily's room, Vanessa admired the butterfly drawings and specimens Lily had collected. These are wonderful, she said genuinely. You're very talented. My mom started the collection with me, Lily explained, before she got sick. Vanessa nodded understandingly. You must miss her very much. I do, Lily said quietly. Catherine doesn't like when I talk about her. How do you and Catherine get along when your dad isn't home? Vanessa asked carefully. Lily looked toward the door before answering. She's different when Dad isn't here. She gets angry a lot. What does she do when she's angry? Vanessa pressed gently. She says mean things. About me? About my mom? Lily hesitated. Sometimes she breaks my things and says it's an accident. Vanessa's expression grew concerned. Does your dad know about this? I tried to tell him once, but Catherine was there and Lily trailed off. She said no one would believe me anyway. That evening after Lily went to bed, Catherine drank several glasses of wine in the living room. Mike was monitoring the security feed when Catherine made a phone call. She spoke quietly, but the hidden microphones picked up her words clearly. James, I need to discuss contingency plans, she said to someone. The situation here might become complicated. She paused, listening. My sister showed up unexpectedly. She knows about Philadelphia. Another pause. No, she won't go to the police, but she's interfering with my plans for the child. Mike leaned closer to his monitor, recording everything. I need to know about custody precedents when there's no biological connection, Catherine continued. If something happened to Michael, would I have any claim to stay in the house or access his accounts as Lily's guardian? The next morning, Mike was checking the exterior cameras when he heard raised voices from the kitchen. The hidden camera showed Catherine and Vanessa in a heated argument. I'm cutting my visit short, Vanessa announced. I can't stay here and watch this. Watch what exactly? Catherine demanded. Me creating a stable home? You call this stable? Vanessa shot back. The way you speak to Lily when you think no one is listening? The way you're trying to erase her mother's memory? Catherine stepped closer to her sister. If you interfere, I'll make sure everyone knows about your own little secret. How would your perfect colleagues react to learning about Atlantic City? Vanessa paled but stood her ground. At least my mistakes didn't hurt children. Get out of my house, Catherine hissed. An hour later, Vanessa's taxi arrived to take her to the airport. She hugged Lily tightly. Remember, you can call me anytime, she whispered, for anything at all. As Vanessa walked to the taxi, she passed Mike, who was inspecting the front gate. She slowed down and discreetly slipped a business card into his hand. I know something's not right here, she said quietly. Call me if Lily needs help. After Vanessa left, Mike waited until Catherine was occupied with a phone call before using the secure laptop in the pool house to search online for news about Catherine in Philadelphia. He found an archived article from 5 years ago about a wealthy businessman named Richard Whitman, whose 2 children were briefly hospitalized following what was ruled as an accidental medication overdose. The article mentioned the children recovered fully, but within 3 months Whitman had divorced his second wife, Catherine Pierce Whitman. The Philadelphia News article confirmed Mike's worst fears. Catherine had a pattern of targeting wealthy men with children, and there was evidence suggesting she had deliberately harmed Richard Whitman's children. Using his security company connections, Mike dug deeper into Catherine's past while continuing to monitor her behavior with Lily. Over the next day, Mike discovered Catherine had been married 3 times before Michael. Each marriage was to a wealthy man with children, and each ended after incidents involving those children. Her first husband, Thomas Grant from Chicago, lost custody of his daughter after Catherine presented evidence that he was unstable. Her second husband, Richard Whitman, paid a large settlement after his children were hospitalized. Her third marriage to banker David Foster ended when his son was sent to military school following behavioral issues that began shortly after Catherine moved in. Meanwhile, Catherine's treatment of Lily grew increasingly hostile after Vanessa's departure. During breakfast, Mike overheard Catherine criticizing Lily's attachment to her mother's belongings. "Your constant clinging to these mementos is unhealthy," Catherine said, examining a small butterfly pin that had belonged to Emma. "It's morbid and prevents you from properly bonding with me." "My dad gave me this," Lily replied quietly. "Your father is too weak to help you move forward," Catherine snapped. "That's why I've been looking into boarding schools." Lily's eyes widened. "Boarding schools?" "Yes, a structured environment would do you good." Catherine smiled coldly. "I've already discussed it with your father." Later that morning, Catherine video-called Michael's cell phone. Mike watched from nearby as she spoke to a pre-recorded video of Michael that Jessica had helped prepare. "The Westlake Academy brochures arrived," Catherine said sweetly. "It's only 3 hours away, so Lily could come home monthly. The academic program is excellent." The pre-recorded Michael responded with carefully scripted answers that seemed non-committal, but didn't outright reject the idea. "We'll discuss it more when I get home," the recording said. "Perfect, darling. How's Seattle?" Catherine asked. As the fake conversation continued, Mike noticed something odd. Catherine was texting on a second phone hidden below the camera's view. She seemed to be checking something while pretending to be engaged in the video call. That afternoon, Mike watched as Catherine entered Lily's bedroom with fabric samples and a measuring tape. "What are you doing?" Lily asked, looking up from her homework. "Planning to redecorate your room," Catherine replied. "This childish butterfly theme needs to go." "But I like my room this way," Lily protested. "My mom helped design it." Catherine's face hardened. "Your mother had terrible taste. Besides, she's gone. It's time for a fresh start." "Please don't change my room," Lily begged. Catherine began removing photos of Emma from Lily's bulletin board. "These are coming down first. It's unhealthy to surround yourself with images of dead people." Lily stood up. "Stop! Those are my pictures!" "Don't raise your voice at me," Catherine warned. "This behavior is exactly why boarding school would be good for you." The situation escalated the next day when Lily came home from school bursting with excitement. Mike was checking the front door security camera when she ran up the driveway. "Mr. Williams," she called out, "guess what? I got the lead in the school play." "That's wonderful news," Mike replied, genuinely happy for her. "It's the same role my mom played when she was my age," Lily explained, her eyes bright with excitement. "Mrs. Bennett said I read the part perfectly." Catherine was hosting her social club that afternoon. 5 women from the neighborhood gathered in the living room drinking tea and eating small sandwiches. Lily burst through the front door and into the living room. "Catherine, Catherine," she exclaimed, "I got the lead in the play. I'm going to be Dorothy just like my mom was." The women turned to look at Lily with smiles, but Catherine's face tightened momentarily before she forced a smile. "Lily, we have guests," she said with strained politeness. "It's rude to interrupt." "Sorry," Lily said, her excitement dimming slightly. "I just wanted to tell you the good news." "That's wonderful, dear," one of the women said. "Was your mother an actress?" "No, but she played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when she was my age," Lily explained. "And I'm going to wear her special pink butterfly dress for the performance. My dad has it saved in my closet." Mike noticed Catherine's knuckles turning white as she gripped her teacup. "That sounds lovely," another woman commented. "How special to follow in your mother's footsteps." "Yes, very special," Catherine said tightly. "Lily, why don't you go upstairs and start your homework while we finish our meeting?" After the women left 2 hours later, Catherine called Lily to her bedroom. Mike positioned himself in the hallway where he could observe through the partially open door, pretending to check a nearby security sensor. "What were you thinking, embarrassing me like that in front of my friends?" Catherine demanded. "I just wanted to share my good news," Lily said quietly. "By making everything about your mother again?" Catherine opened Lily's closet and began searching through it. "Where's this dress you mentioned?" "It's in the garment bag in the back," Lily said nervously. "Dad keeps it there to protect it." Catherine pulled out a clear garment bag containing a beautiful pink dress decorated with hand-embroidered butterflies. She took it out and held it up with disgust. "This is what you want to wear? This pathetic rag?" "My mom made it for me before she died," Lily said, her voice trembling. "It's ugly," Catherine said coldly, "and it's a constant reminder of your father's perfect first wife. I'm sick of living in Emma's shadow." "Please put it back," Lily begged, reaching for the dress. Catherine yanked it away, causing Lily to stumble forward. "Don't tell me what to do in my own house. It's my dress." Lily tried again to take it. Catherine pushed her away forcefully. Lily fell backward, hitting her head against the bedpost with a loud thud. Mike tensed, ready to intervene, but forced himself to wait as Lily sat up, holding the back of her head, tears streaming down her face. Catherine looked at the dress, then deliberately grabbed both sides of the delicate fabric and tore it straight down the middle. "This needs to end now," she said coldly. As Lily gasped in horror, Catherine carried the torn dress pieces downstairs to the living room with Lily following, sobbing uncontrollably. In the living room, Catherine went to the fireplace and began crumpling the fabric, preparing to throw it into the flames. "No!" Lily screamed. "Please don't!" Mike couldn't stand by any longer. He rushed into the living room. "Mrs. Anderson, stop!" Catherine turned to him, the torn dress pieces in her hands. But instead of surprise or anger at his interference, her face showed recognition. A cold smile spread across her face. "Michael?" she gasped. "I was wondering how long you'd let this continue." Mike froze. "Excuse me. Don't play dumb," Catherine said, dropping the dress pieces on the floor. "I've known it was you all along." "I don't understand, ma'am," Mike said, trying to maintain his cover. Catherine laughed. "The beard is good and the makeup too. But did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? I hacked your email days ago. I saw all your communications with Robert about this little plan." "Daddy?" Lily asked in confusion, looking at Mike. "You think you're so clever," Catherine continued, her voice venomous. "I knew you were testing me, and now you've proven you never trusted me." She grabbed Lily's arm roughly. "Tell your father how we rehearsed our little scenes together, Lily. Tell him how you agreed to help Mommy with her acting." Lily looked terrified, her eyes darting between them. "She said if I didn't play along, she'd send me to a school far away," she whispered. "A place where I'd never see you again." Mike reached up and pulled off his false beard, then removed his glasses. "It's over, Catherine." "What's over?" Catherine asked, her voice suddenly innocent. "I was just showing you what you wanted to see. You set up this whole test and I played along. I was helping you see what you were afraid of." "I heard you on the phone before I ever put on this disguise," Michael said, his own voice returning. "I heard what you called my daughter. I saw how you treated her when you thought I wasn't looking." Catherine's expression changed again, becoming tearful. "Michael, you don't understand. I was only trying to help Lily move past her grief. You've been too weak to do it yourself. Someone had to be the strong one. By destroying her mother's dress? By pushing her into furniture?" Michael asked incredulously. Catherine's tactics shifted again. "You have no idea what you've done," she said, her voice suddenly threatening. "I know everything about your business, Michael. Every password, every contract, every weakness in your security software. I've been recording our conversations for months, editing them to make you sound controlling and abusive." Michael pulled out his phone and pressed record. "Keep talking, Catherine. Please explain more about how you've been planning this." Catherine realized what he was doing and stopped. "You won't win this," she said quietly. "I always have a backup plan." The tense silence in the living room was broken by Michael's phone ringing. It was Robert. "Keep her talking," Robert said when Michael answered. "I'm 10 minutes away." "I'll call you back," Michael replied calmly. Not wanting Catherine to know who was on the line, Catherine circled the room slowly, maintaining her distance from Michael. "I've known about your little spy operation for days," she said. "Did you think I wouldn't check your email after you left so suddenly?" "Your password was pathetically easy to guess. Lily's birthday." "How long have you been planning this?" Michael asked, keeping his phone recording. "Planning what?" Catherine smiled. "Being a good wife? Or preparing for when you inevitably disappointed me? Men like you are all the same. You pretend to want a partner, but you really want a nanny for your child and someone to warm your bed." "So everything was an act from the beginning," Michael stated. "Not everything," Catherine shrugged. "The first few months I genuinely thought you might be different, but then I saw how you constantly put Lily first, how Emma's ghost haunted every room of this house." "She's my daughter," Michael said firmly. "Of course she comes first." Catherine laughed bitterly. "You have no idea what I've been through, the families I've tried to build. Every time, the children ruin everything. They're always there, demanding attention, clinging to memories of their dead or absent mothers." Lily stood frozen, tears streaming down her face as she clutched the torn pieces of her dress. "How many times have you done this before?" Michael asked, remembering the Philadelphia article. "Done what? Married wealthy men with children? 3 times before you." Catherine spoke casually, as if discussing her education. "The first was Thomas in Chicago. His daughter was so troubled, always acting out, telling lies about me. I simply documented her behavior until the court gave him a choice. Me or her, he chose wrong." Michael kept her talking while slowly moving toward Lily. "And Richard Whitman in Philadelphia?" Catherine's eyes narrowed. "Vanessa told you about that, didn't she? Those children were monsters, spoiled, entitled brats. The medication mix-up was unfortunate, but they recovered fully. Richard paid generously to keep it quiet." "And the third?" Michael asked, now standing between Catherine and Lily. "David from Boston. His son was already headed for trouble. I simply accelerated the process until military school became the only option." Catherine sighed. "But enough about the past. Let's discuss our future, Michael." "There is no future for us," Michael said firmly. "Our marriage is over." Catherine's demeanor shifted instantly. Her eyes filled with tears, and her voice became trembling and vulnerable. "Please don't say that," she pleaded. "I know I've made mistakes, but I was only trying to help Lily move forward. She was so stuck in her grief, and you were too weak to help her. Everything I did was for this family." Michael wasn't fooled. "Save your performance. I've seen the real you now." Catherine's expression hardened again. "Fine. Then let me be perfectly clear about what happens next. I have recordings of our conversations, carefully edited to show you as controlling and abusive. I have documentation of your business practices that certain competitors would pay generously for. I know every password, every account, every weakness in your precious security software. "You'd destroy my company?" Michael asked, keeping her focused on him as he noticed Lily slowly backing toward the door. "I prefer to think of it as insurance," Catherine replied. "A reasonable divorce settlement, and all that information stays private. Fight me, and I'll burn everything you've built to the ground." "How long have you been planning this?" Michael asked again, giving Lily time to slip out of the room. "Since before we met," Catherine admitted coldly. "You were selected, Michael. Wealthy widower, successful business, one child. You fit my criteria perfectly. The cancer charity gala was no coincidence. I researched you for months." In the hallway, Lily ran quietly up the stairs toward her room, where Michael had installed a panic button after the first security system upgrade. Catherine continued, unaware of Lily's absence. "Your guilt over Emma made you an easy target. You were so desperate to create a perfect family again, so blind to what was happening right in front of you." "And Lily was just collateral damage?" Michael asked, his anger barely contained. "She was the obstacle," Catherine said dismissively. "Children always are. They cling to the past, to their real mothers. Catherine stopped suddenly, noticing Lily was gone. "Where is she?" Michael didn't answer, but Catherine realized what might be happening. She rushed to the security system panel in the living room and began frantically typing on the keypad. "You think you're so clever with your cameras," she hissed. "I've been deleting footage all week. I'll erase everything now." "You can try," Michael said, "but you won't be able to access all the cameras." Catherine's eyes widened with realization. "The backup system. Where is it?" Before Michael could answer, they heard the sound of vehicles in the driveway. Catherine ran to the window and saw Robert's security van and 2 other cars pulling up. "You planned this," she accused, backing away from the window. "You gave me no choice," Michael replied. Catherine's face twisted with rage. "I still have time." She ran toward Michael's home office. Michael followed, watching as she grabbed financial documents from his desk drawer and reached for his external hard drives. "Those won't help you," Michael said from the doorway. "All the evidence of what you've done is already backed up elsewhere." The sound of the front door opening made Catherine freeze. Robert's voice called out, "Michael, Lily!" In a final desperate move, Catherine suddenly slammed her head against the corner of the desk, hard enough to draw blood. She collapsed to the floor with a cry of pain. "Help!" she screamed. "He's attacking me! Please help!" Robert rushed into the office, followed by 2 of his security team members. They found Catherine on the floor and Michael standing several feet away. "She just injured herself," Michael explained quickly. "She's trying to frame me." "That's a lie!" Catherine sobbed, her face streaked with blood from a cut on her forehead. "He discovered I knew about his affairs. He's been abusing me for months." Robert held up his phone. "We heard everything, Catherine. The backup cameras transmitted audio to my security team. We've been listening since Michael called." Catherine's face changed instantly, the tears stopping as if a switch had been flipped. She scrambled to her feet, still clutching the hard drives and documents. "You have nothing on me," she said coldly. "It's my word against yours." The sound of police sirens grew louder outside. Robert smiled grimly. "Actually, we have everything on you. The entire confession is recorded, including your admission about Richard Whitman's children." 2 police officers entered the office, led by Lily. Officer Davis, a woman with a stern expression, took in the scene quickly. "What's happening here?" she asked. "She hurt herself on purpose," Lily said immediately, pointing at Catherine. "She was trying to trick you. She's been mean to me for months." "That's ridiculous," Catherine scoffed. "The child is disturbed. Ask anyone." Officer Davis looked at the blood on Catherine's forehead, then at the documents in her hands. "Why don't you put those papers down, ma'am, while we sort this out?" "These are my personal belongings," Catherine claimed. "My husband is trying to hide assets before our divorce." "That's not true," Michael said. "Those are confidential company documents she's attempting to steal. We have video evidence of her admitting to corporate espionage, child abuse, and threatening behavior." Robert held up his phone again. "Everything is recorded, officer. I've already sent copies to the police station. Officer Davis nodded to her partner, Mrs. Anderson, please put down those documents and step away from the desk. Catherine's eyes darted around the room, looking for an escape. Finding none, she dropped the papers and lunged toward Lily instead. This is all your fault, you little… Officer Davis moved quickly, intercepting Catherine before she could reach the child. That's enough, she said firmly, taking Catherine's arm. Mrs. Anderson, you're under arrest for attempted assault, child endangerment, and attempted theft of proprietary information. As the officer read Catherine her rights, she locked eyes with Michael. This isn't over, she said with chilling calmness. I still have friends you don't know about, and they have everything I need to destroy you both. The second officer handcuffed Catherine and led her toward the front door. As they passed through the living room, Catherine saw the torn pieces of the pink butterfly dress still on the floor. She smiled coldly at Lily, who was now standing close to her father. Good luck finding someone to fix that worthless rag, she said. After Catherine was placed in the police car, Officer Davis returned to take statements from Michael and Lily. A paramedic arrived to check the bruise on Lily's head where she had hit the bedpost. We'll need both of you to come to the station tomorrow to make formal statements, Officer Davis explained. In the meantime, I'm going to request a temporary restraining order to keep Mrs. Anderson away from your home and family. Thank you, Michael said, keeping an arm around Lily's shoulders. When the police finally left, Robert stayed behind to help secure the house. You should stay somewhere else tonight, he suggested. I can have a security team watch the house, but you two might feel safer elsewhere. We'll go to the Grand Hotel downtown, Michael decided. Lily loves their pool. While Michael packed overnight bags, Lily carefully gathered the torn pieces of her mother's dress. She held them gently, as if they were injured butterflies. Can it be fixed? She asked quietly when Michael returned. We'll find someone who can repair it, Michael promised. It might look different, but we'll make sure those butterflies fly again. As they prepared to leave, Michael's phone rang. The caller ID showed unknown number. Hello? He answered cautiously. There was only silence on the other end, then a soft click as the call ended. Who was it? Lily asked. Wrong number, Michael said, not wanting to worry her further. But a feeling of unease settled over him. Catherine's final words echoed in his mind. This isn't over. The Grand Hotel's presidential suite offered a temporary sanctuary for Michael and Lily. After hanging up from the unknown caller, Michael had hurried them out of the house, his unease growing. Now, as Lily slept in the adjoining bedroom, Michael sat on the balcony, staring at his phone. Everything secure at the house? He asked when Robert called at 11:30. All quiet, Robert assured him. My best team is on watch. Try to get some sleep, Mike. Sleep proved impossible. Michael's mind raced with questions. How had he missed the signs? What else had Catherine done that he didn't know about? Would Lily recover from this trauma? Early morning brought Detective James Warren to their hotel suite, tall, with graying hair and kind eyes. He carried a folder thick with papers. I appreciate you meeting me here, Detective Warren said. I thought it would be easier than bringing Lily to the station right away. Thank you, Michael replied. She's still sleeping. That's fine. We can start with your statement. The detective set up a small recorder. Tell me everything from the beginning. For the next 2 hours, Michael detailed his relationship with Catherine, from their meeting at the charity gala to the events of yesterday. When he finished, Detective Warren nodded thoughtfully. We seized Mrs. Anderson's laptop last night, he said. What we found so far confirms your story and suggests things might be even worse than you realized. He opened his folder and showed Michael several printed emails. She researched boarding schools that specifically limit parental visitation rights. She drafted emails to a psychiatrist friend requesting documentation of Lily's supposed dangerous behavior. And she kept detailed records of your business dealings and passwords. Michael felt sick. Was she planning this from the start? It appears so, Detective Warren confirmed. Most concerning, we found communications with a former business competitor of yours, offering to sell proprietary information about your security software. Who? Michael demanded. James Harrington from NetGuard Systems. Michael knew the name well. NetGuard had tried to acquire his company years ago. When he refused, they became aggressive competitors. Their conversation paused as Lily emerged from the bedroom, rubbing her eyes. "Good morning, sweetheart," Michael said, trying to sound normal. "This is Detective Warren. He needs to ask us some questions about what happened." Lily nodded solemnly. "Is Catherine in jail?" "Yes," Detective Warren answered gently, "and she'll stay there until her court hearing." After breakfast, a woman named Sandra Morales arrived from Child Protective Services. With warm brown eyes and a soft voice, she immediately put Lily at ease. "I have a special friend I'd like you to meet," she told Lily, opening a carrier to reveal a small therapy dog. "This is Buddy. He helps kids feel safe when they talk about scary things." Lily's face brightened as she petted the golden retriever. "He's so soft. Buddy would love to sit with you while we talk," Sandra said. "Is that okay?" While Sandra spoke with Lily in the suite's living room, Michael met with his attorney Diana Chen in the dining area. "We need to move quickly," Diana advised. "Catherine will have her bail hearing soon, and we want to make sure the judge understands the severity of the situation." "Will Lily have to testify?" Michael asked worriedly. "Not at the bail hearing," Diana assured him. "But eventually, yes. Sandra's evaluation will help establish a pattern of psychological manipulation that, combined with the video evidence and Catherine's own admissions, builds a strong case." In the afternoon, Detective Warren returned with more information. "We've contacted Richard Whitman in Philadelphia," he said. "He was initially reluctant to speak about Catherine, but when we explained the situation with Lily, he agreed to cooperate." "What did he say?" Michael asked. "He confirmed that his children didn't accidentally take too much medication. He believes Catherine deliberately gave them incorrect doses to make them sick, not enough to cause permanent harm, but enough to require hospitalization. When he confronted her, she threatened to claim he was the abusive one. He paid a substantial settlement to protect his children from a messy court battle." Michael shook his head in disbelief. "And she's done this before?" "We're still investigating her first husband, Thomas Grant. But yes, the pattern seems consistent. She targets wealthy single fathers, emotionally isolates their children, then leverages either custody arrangements or business information for financial gain." Later that day, Detective Warren conducted a video interview with Vanessa. Michael and Diana watched from another room as Vanessa reluctantly shared more details about her sister's history. "Catherine had a difficult childhood," Vanessa explained on screen. "Our mother resented having children and made it clear we were burdens. Catherine was especially targeted because she reminded our mother of our father, who abandoned us." "When did her pattern of targeting wealthy men begin?" Detective Warren asked. "After college," Vanessa said. "She was briefly taken in by a wealthy family as a sort of charity case during her senior year of high school. They gave her a taste of luxury, then sent her back to our mother's apartment. She swore she'd never be poor again." The interview continued, revealing more about Catherine's calculated approach to finding vulnerable men with children. "She studied them," Vanessa explained, "learned their weaknesses, what they were looking for. She became whatever they needed. Sophisticated for the businessmen, artistic for the creative types, but the children were always obstacles to her. She couldn't stand sharing attention or resources." That evening, Dr. Sarah Peterson, a child psychologist, came to meet with Lily. With Michael's permission, she conducted an initial therapy session using art materials. "Draw anything you want," Dr. Peterson suggested. Lily drew a butterfly trapped in a jar with a tight lid. When asked about the picture, she hesitated. "Catherine said if I told anyone how she really was, nobody would believe me." Lily's voice was barely audible, She said they would think I was crazy and send me away. Did she say other things when your dad wasn't around? Dr. Peterson asked gently. Lily nodded. She would come to my room at night and whisper that my mom would be disappointed in me. She said Dad was only keeping me out of obligation. She said once they had their own baby, I wouldn't matter anymore. Michael, listening from nearby, had to step away, his eyes filling with tears. Meanwhile, financial investigators discovered Catherine had been making small transfers from Michael's accounts to offshore holdings for months. Never enough to trigger alerts, but adding up to significant amounts. She was building her escape fund, Diana explained when she called with the news. Classic preparation for either divorce or disappearance. 3 days after Catherine's arrest, Michael met with his company's security team to change all passwords and security protocols she might have accessed. We need to assume she shared information with outside parties, Michael told them. Complete system overhaul. As the investigation deepened, Robert helped Michael and Lily move from the hotel to a secure temporary apartment. The house, still being processed as a crime scene, held too many painful memories to return immediately. On the 5th day, Catherine's bail hearing was scheduled. Before heading to court, Michael received a call from an unknown number. This time, he recorded it. Michael. Catherine's voice was eerily calm. I'm calling to offer you a deal. You're not in a position to make deals, Michael replied. I think I am. My attorney will be requesting bail today. When I'm released, I'll disappear quietly. If you drop all charges and agree to a generous divorce settlement, that's not happening. Catherine's voice hardened. I still have your company's security protocols. One call to James Harrington and everything you built will collapse. Is that a threat? Michael asked. It's a reality check, Catherine replied. Think about what's best for Lily. A quiet resolution or a very public, very ugly court battle where all your private business is exposed. After hanging up, Michael immediately called Detective Warren and played the recording. She just added witness intimidation to her charges, the detective said. This helps our case to deny bail. At the courthouse, Catherine maintained her perfect victim persona. Dressed in a simple blue suit, she looked demure and frightened as she entered. Her attorney argued she was a victim of surveillance and psychological abuse by Michael. The judge, however, had reviewed the evidence. Bail denied, she announced firmly. The defendant poses a flight risk and has demonstrated a pattern of threatening behavior. As officers led Catherine away, she looked directly at Michael in the gallery. Her eyes were cold and calculating. That evening, while Lily worked with Dr. Peterson on therapeutic activities, Detective Warren arrived at the apartment with a serious expression. We found journals in Catherine's storage unit, he said quietly to Michael. They date back to her teenage years. They explain everything, her methodology, her targets, even how she selects vulnerable families. What do they say about us? Michael asked. You were carefully chosen, Detective Warren replied grimly. She researched dozens of potential targets before selecting you. The charity gala wasn't a coincidence. She donated specifically to be there, knowing you would attend in Emma's memory. As Michael processed this disturbing information, his phone rang again. The screen showed unknown number. When he answered, there was only silence, then the sound of butterfly wings flapping. Catherine signaled that someone was still watching them. Michael stared at his phone as the sound of butterfly wings stopped. The call ended abruptly. What was that? Detective Warren asked. Catherine's warning, Michael explained, his voice tight. She uses butterfly sounds as signals. Someone is still working with her, even though she's in jail. The detective immediately called the precinct. I need extra security on the Anderson protective detail, and check all calls made from or to prisoner Catherine Anderson today. For the next week, Michael and Lily remained in the secure apartment building that Robert had arranged. 2 security guards watched the entrance at all times. Despite being arrested and denied bail, Catherine had apparently activated several contingency plans. One morning, Diana Chen arrived with a worried expression. She placed her laptop on the dining table and opened several files. "Catherine has been busier than we thought," Diana said. "I found evidence she's been building relationships with at least 3 of your major competitors." Michael leaned forward to look at the screen. TechShield, NetGuard, and Sentinel Systems, all companies that tried to acquire mine in the past. Diana nodded. She offered them proprietary software information in exchange for financial support and character witnesses for the upcoming trial. "How did she contact them from jail?" Michael asked. "She didn't have to," Diana explained. "These arrangements were already in place. She set up automatic email deliveries if she didn't enter a special code every 3 days." Michael shook his head in disbelief. She planned for everything. Meanwhile, Detective Warren continued investigating Catherine's past marriages. He arrived at the apartment later that day with new information. "We've confirmed Catherine's pattern in 3 previous marriages, not just the 2 we knew about," he reported. "In each case, she targeted wealthy men with children, isolated the children psychologically, then leveraged either custody threats or business information during divorce proceedings." "What about her first husband?" Michael asked. "Thomas Grant from Chicago," the detective replied. "His daughter began having severe anxiety after Catherine moved in. The girl eventually told a school counselor that Catherine threatened her when her father wasn't home. Thomas didn't believe her at first, but eventually caught Catherine on a home video system." "What happened?" "What? Catherine claimed the video was edited. She had already gathered evidence painting Thomas as an unstable, workaholic father. The family court sided with her initially. He lost custody temporarily before proving the truth." While these investigations continued, Michael focused on helping Lily recover. She attended daily therapy sessions with Dr. Peterson, gradually opening up about Catherine's manipulation. "She would come to my room at night," Lily told Dr. Peterson during a session Michael observed. "She would whisper that no one would ever love me like my real mom did. She said I was only a burden to my dad." Dr. Peterson used art therapy to help Lily express her feelings. "Draw what it felt like when Catherine said those things," she suggested gently. Lily drew a small girl surrounded by dark clouds with angry faces in them. "Those clouds are her words," Lily explained. "They stayed in my head even when she wasn't there." Throughout this difficult time, the damaged pink butterfly dress became a symbol of what Catherine had tried to destroy. One morning, Michael received a surprising call from Eliza Jenkins, a costume restoration expert from the New York Metropolitan Opera. "Mr. Anderson, I read about your daughter's dress in the news," Eliza said. "I specialize in repairing delicate theatrical costumes. I'd like to help restore the butterfly dress if you'll allow me." "That's very kind," Michael said, surprised. "But I'm sure you're very busy with important work." "Nothing is more important than helping a child heal," Eliza replied. "From what I read, this dress represents her connection to her mother. That's worth preserving." Michael agreed, and Robert arranged for the dress pieces to be safely transported to Eliza's workshop. As Catherine's trial approached, her defense attorney contacted Diana with a surprising offer. "Catherine is willing to make a deal," Diana told Michael after the call. "If you agree to a quiet divorce with a $2 million settlement, she claims all evidence about your company's security vulnerabilities will be destroyed. She'll leave your lives forever." "Do you believe her?" Michael asked. "Not for a second," Diana replied firmly. "She's desperate. The evidence against her is overwhelming." Michael thought for a moment. "What if we pretended to consider her offer? It might draw out whoever is helping her." Diana looked intrigued. "A setup?" "Exactly," Michael nodded. "If Catherine thinks I'm willing to negotiate, she might get overconfident and reveal her accomplices." They took this idea to Detective Warren, who agreed it could work. Together, they developed a strategy to identify Catherine's network of allies. "We'll need to make it convincing," the detective advised. "Meet with her attorney. Act like you're seriously considering the deal." The next day, Michael met with Catherine's lawyer, Marcus Powell, at his downtown office. Detective Warren's team monitored the meeting from a surveillance van outside. $2 million is a small price for your reputation and company's future, Marcus argued smoothly. Catherine simply wants to move on with her life. Michael appeared conflicted. I need to think about it. This isn't just about money, it's about my daughter's well-being. Of course, Marcus nodded sympathetically. Take 24 hours, but Catherine's offer expires after that. When Michael left, he was followed discreetly by police officers. As expected, Marcus immediately called Catherine at the detention center to report on the meeting. He's considering it, Marcus told her. He seemed genuinely worried about his company. Catherine's voice came through the police recording system. Good. Tell Jessica to proceed with retrieving the backup files from Storage Unit 17 at Brookfield Storage Center. The key is in my desk drawer at home, behind the false bottom. Marcus lowered his voice. Are you sure about involving her? If Anderson accepts the deal, Jessica has been helping me all along, Catherine interrupted. She's the perfect insider, his trusted assistant who's been secretly working for me for months. The police never suspected her. The next morning, Jessica Porter, Michael's assistant for 3 years, drove to Brookfield Storage Center. She used a key from Catherine's desk to open Unit 17. Inside, she found a metal lockbox containing hard drives and documents. As she picked it up, police officers emerged from hiding places around the storage facility. Jessica Porter, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit corporate espionage, Detective Warren announced, stepping forward. I don't know what this is, Jessica protested. Catherine asked me to pick up some personal items. I was just helping out. We have recordings of your communications with Catherine planning to steal and sell proprietary information, the detective replied. And we know you've been deleting security footage and email records for months. At the police station, Jessica eventually broke down under questioning. Catherine approached me 6 months ago, she admitted. She offered me 20% of whatever she got from selling the security protocols. She said Michael underpaid me and took me for granted. How did she find you? Detective Warren asked. She researched everyone in Michael's inner circle, Jessica explained. She found out I had gambling debts. She paid them off and said I owed her. When Michael learned about Jessica's betrayal, he was shocked. I trusted her completely, he told Diana. She had access to everything. That's exactly why Catherine targeted her, Diana said. She looked for vulnerabilities in your entire network, not just you personally. The investigation revealed Catherine had been building her plan long before she ever met Michael. Her journals, now being used as evidence, showed she had researched dozens of potential targets before selecting him specifically. She knew about Emma's death from obituaries, Detective Warren explained. She studied your interviews about your security software. She even took notes on Lily's school schedule and activities. That evening, as Michael and Lily ate dinner in their temporary apartment, the doorbell rang. Robert checked the security camera before opening the door. It's for you, he told Lily with a smile. Eliza Jenkins stood in the hallway holding a garment bag. Special delivery, she announced. Inside the bag was Lily's pink butterfly dress, beautifully restored. The tear had been carefully mended with nearly invisible stitches, and the butterfly embroidery touched up with matching thread. It's perfect, Lily whispered, touching the fabric gently. It looks almost the same. Not exactly the same, Eliza explained kindly. It has a scar now, but I reinforced it. The fabric is actually stronger at the repair than it was before. As Lily carefully held the dress, Michael's phone chimed with a text from Detective Warren. There's something you need to see. We found journals from Catherine's childhood that explain everything, and you won't believe what started all this. The next morning, Michael met Detective Warren at the police station to review Catherine's childhood journals. The small, worn notebooks filled with neat handwriting painted a disturbing portrait of Catherine's early life. These explain a lot, Detective Warren said, pointing to specific passages. Catherine grew up in extreme poverty with a mother who resented her. When she was 16, a wealthy family took her in temporarily as part of a school outreach program. Michael read the entry from that time. The Wilsons have everything. Their house has 6 bedrooms for just 3 people. They took me shopping today and spent more on one outfit than my mother spends on food in a month. But it's just charity to them. I'm their good deed, not family. 3 months later, they sent her back to her mother's apartment, Detective Warren continued. The contrast between luxury and poverty created an obsession with securing wealth at any cost. So she began targeting wealthy families, Michael said. Yes, but there's more, the detective replied. Look at this entry from when she was 22. The journal page showed a news clipping about a young widow and her daughter receiving a large insurance settlement after the father's death. Catherine had written beside it. Perfect situation. Vulnerable woman, young child, financial security. This is the formula. She studied grief, Detective Warren explained. Learned how to exploit emotional vulnerability. Your situation with Emma's death and raising Lily alone fit her target profile exactly. 6 months later, on a bright spring morning, Michael stood in the kitchen of a new house in Brookfield. The modern 2-story home with large windows looked nothing like their previous colonial house that had been a deliberate choice. A fresh start without visual reminders of Catherine. Lily, breakfast is ready, Michael called up the stairs. Lily came down wearing a blue dress with small pink butterfly accents on the collar, a design she had created herself. Dad, don't forget I have dress rehearsal after school today, she said, sitting at the kitchen counter. Miss Collins said we need to practice our graduation speeches. I remember, Michael smiled. I'll pick you up at 5 o'clock. So much had changed in 6 months. Catherine had eventually pleaded guilty to multiple charges as evidence mounted against her. She accepted a plea deal that included prison time and psychiatric evaluation. The journals discovered by Detective Warren had been key evidence in showing her pattern of targeting wealthy families. After dropping Lily at school, Michael drove to his company's new headquarters. He had restructured the business, stepping back from frequent travel to work primarily from a home office. Today, however, was the official launch of their newest program. The Emma's Watch demonstration is set for 11 o'clock. His new assistant, David, reminded him. Thanks, Michael replied. Are the school representatives here yet? They're in the main conference room. The team is setting up now. At 11 o'clock, Michael stood before an audience of educators, child welfare professionals, and software developers behind him. A large screen displayed the Emma's Watch logo, a stylized butterfly. After what my family experienced, Michael began, I realized that many children lack safe ways to report concerns. Emma's Watch creates secure channels for children to communicate with trusted adults without fear. The program is now being piloted in 25 schools nationwide. The software allowed children to send coded messages through a seemingly normal game app that would alert designated adults if the child felt unsafe. It also provided resources for children experiencing various forms of abuse. Later that afternoon, Michael attended a parent workshop at Lily's school about helping children recover from psychological trauma. The presenter discussed how children often blame themselves for family problems. Many children believe they somehow caused the difficulties in their homes, the speaker explained. After the presentation, a woman with auburn hair approached Michael. Mr. Anderson, I'm Sarah Collins, Lily's English teacher. I just wanted to tell you how impressed I've been with her progress this semester. Thank you, Michael replied. She mentions your class often. The creative writing assignments have really helped her process everything. She's a remarkable girl, Sarah said. The butterfly metaphor in her recent story about transformation was quite powerful. Would you like to get coffee sometime? Michael asked. I'd love to hear more about how she's doing in school. Sarah smiled. I'd like that. At home that evening, Michael paused in Lily's doorway. The restored pink butterfly dress now hung in a shadow box on her wall with a small plaque that read, "Broken things can be remade stronger." Dad? Lily looked up from her desk where she was practicing her graduation speech. "Do you think Mom would like my new dress for graduation?" "She would love it," Michael assured her, "especially since you designed it yourself." 2 weeks later, on a warm June evening, families gathered in the Brookfield Middle School auditorium for the 5th grade graduation ceremony. Lily wore her new blue dress with pink butterfly accents that she had designed with help from Eliza Jenkins, who had become a friend of the family. "Are you nervous?" Michael asked as they waited for the ceremony to begin. "A little," Lily admitted. "But Dr. Peterson taught me to breathe deeply when I feel scared." Dr. Peterson, who still met with Lily once a week, had helped her develop healthy coping mechanisms. Through therapy, Lily had gradually overcome the psychological damage Catherine had inflicted. Sarah Collins waved to them from several rows away, where she sat with the other teachers. "She seems nice," Lily commented with a knowing smile. "She is nice," Michael replied, feeling a slight blush rise to his cheeks. Their coffee meetings had become regular occurrences over the past month, evolving into dinners and museum visits. Sarah, a widow herself with a teenage son named Jason, understood the journey of grief and rebuilding. When it was Lily's turn to speak, she walked confidently to the podium. Her voice was clear as she delivered her speech about trust and second chances. "Sometimes people aren't who they seem to be," she said. "I learned that the hard way. But I also learned that there are many good people who will help you when you're brave enough to ask." From the audience, Michael felt a surge of pride. Robert and his wife, sitting nearby, wiped tears from their eyes. After the ceremony, Sarah introduced Michael and Lily to her son Jason, a 14-year-old with a shy smile and kind eyes. "Congratulations on your speech," Jason told Lily. "It was really good." "Thanks," Lily replied. "Do you like butterflies? I have a whole collection at home." "That sounds cool," Jason said. "I collect rocks and minerals." The next day, Michael, Lily, Sarah, and Jason visited Brookfield Cemetery together. They walked quietly through the peaceful grounds until they reached Emma's gravestone. Lily knelt and placed handcrafted paper butterflies she had made from small scraps of the original pink dress that couldn't be used in the restoration. "Hi, Mom," she said softly. "I brought some butterflies for you, and I wanted you to meet my friends, Sarah and Jason." As they walked back to the car, Lily reached for both Michael's and Sarah's hands naturally, as if it were something she'd always done. "Is that okay?" Lily asked, looking up at Sarah. "It's more than okay," Sarah assured her with a warm smile. That evening, while Sarah and Jason stayed for dinner, Michael watched Lily laughing as she showed Jason her butterfly collection. The sound of her genuine laughter, something that had been absent during Catherine's time in their lives, filled the house. Later, after their guests had gone home, Michael sat with Lily on their back porch, watching fireflies in the garden. "Dad?" Lily said quietly, "I'm not scared anymore." "About what, sweetheart?" "About anything," she replied. "I know bad things can happen, but good things can happen too. And we know how to tell the difference now." Michael put his arm around her shoulders. Catherine's deception had taught them painful lessons about trust, but it also showed them that genuine connections built on honesty and respect were still possible, and worth fighting for. The next morning, Michael sat at his desk reviewing application requests from schools wanting to implement the Emma's Watch program. The software was already helping children across the country find safe ways to report their concerns. On his desk stood a framed photo of Lily at her graduation, proudly wearing her blue butterfly dress. Beside it was a new picture of Michael, Lily, Sarah, and Jason at a baseball game, the beginning of what might someday become a new kind of family, built carefully on truth and mutual respect. His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Jason can't stop talking about Lily's butterflies. Dinner Friday? I make a mean lasagna." Michael smiled as he typed his reply. "We'd love to, and I've been practicing my garlic bread skills." As he pressed send, he glanced at the shadow box containing Emma's restored dress hanging on his office wall. a reminder of what they had survived and how much stronger they had become. The butterflies seemed to catch the morning light, their wings gleaming with new thread that reinforced the old, creating something beautiful from what had been broken. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.